There is a specific sound in television production that makes executives turn white and engineers reach for the dump button. It is not the sound of a flubbed line, not the crash of a falling light, and not even the shriek of a guest who has had too much champagne. It is the sound of a handler whispering, he doesn't usually do that." For over 7 decades, The Tonight Show has been the crown jewel of American late-night television. It is a stage graced by presidents, legends, and movie stars. It is a place of careful lighting, curated banter, and controlled chaos. But once a week, usually on a slow news night, the bookers would do something dangerous. They would invite the animals. We are not talking about Lassie. We are talking about the unpredictable, the untamed, and the utterly unbothered. From Johnny Carson's legendary laughing bird to Jimmy Fallon nearly being impaled by a water buffalo, we are about to journey into the archives to find the most hysterical, terrifying, and downright funny moments when the velvet rope parted and the zoo took over the couch. These are the moments when the teleprompter failed, but television won. To understand why animals on The Tonight Show are so funny, you have to understand the physics of the set. The Tonight Show stage is a temple of ego. It is designed to make humans look powerful. The desk is massive. The chairs are low to the ground to make legs look long. The lighting is soft and forgiving. Animals do not care about any of this. A dog does not know it is on NBC. A bird does not care about ratings. A baby elephant certainly does not respect the legacy of Johnny Carson. And yet, the booking of animal acts is as old as the show itself. Before the internet gave us endless cat videos, The Tonight Show was the only place you could see a kangaroo in a boxing glove or a parrot who could swear. The formula was simple: take a type A celebrity personality, sit them next to a creature that operates solely on instinct, and watch the dignity dissolve. This is the story of the night the guests ran wild. It usually starts innocently enough. The host looks at the cue cards, reads the guest's name, and flashes that million-watt smile. "Please welcome animal expert Jeff Musial and his friends." The audience applauds. The band plays a generic jungle beat. The stagehands roll out a cart covered in a mysterious blue tarp. And the audience leans forward. The first hint that things are about to go sideways is the look in the handler's eyes. They have that tight, therapeutic smile. The smile that says, "I haven't slept in 48 hours because this snake escaped into the ventilation system." On one specific night in 2014, the hints were there for Jimmy Fallon. The guest was Jeff Musial, and the animal was a water buffalo. For those unfamiliar, a water buffalo weighs about as much as a small car and has horns that look like handlebars for a motorcycle. The hint came immediately: whatever you do, Jimmy, don't look him in the eyes. Now, in the wild, this is logical. To a buffalo, eye contact is a challenge. It means you want to fight. But Jimmy Fallon is a comedian. He has a tic. When he gets nervous, he looks at people for validation. So, he looks at the buffalo. The buffalo moves left. Jimmy screams. Jimmy looks away, realizes he's being silly, and looks back. The buffalo moves forward. Within 30 seconds, one of the most famous men in America is cowering behind a leather couch while a 1,500-pound vegetarian snorts at him. The hint is the warning the host ignores. It is the sign that says wet paint, which the host then touches. That is where the comedy germinates. The tension phase is where the bit stops being a bit and starts becoming a survival exercise. The audience laughs nervously, but the people backstage are holding their breath. Perhaps the greatest tension builder in Tonight Show history involves the smallest, fluffiest guests. Enter Robert Irwin, son of the legendary crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. Robert is immune to fear. He grew up wrestling alligators for fun. When he visits Jimmy Fallon, he does not bring a water buffalo. He brings psychological warfare. In 2017, Robert brought 2 baby black bear cubs onto the set. On paper, this is adorable. In practice, a baby bear is a hurricane with fur. It has claws like fishhooks and teeth like needles, and it wants to put everything in its mouth, including Jimmy Fallon's hand. I think she was kind of just chewing on you, Robert says cheerfully as a cub gnaws on the host's knuckles. The tension rises because of the stakes. Jimmy cannot look scared because they are babies. He cannot scream because it would offend the conservationist. So he sits there, frozen, as the animal tears at his suit jacket. You can see the sweat beading on his forehead. He tries to make a joke, but his voice cracks. The audience laughs, but it is the high-pitched laugh of people watching a car crash in slow motion. Then comes the ultimate tension breaker, the porcupine. When Robert pulls out a porcupine, Fallon loses all pretense of control. He holds a piece of sweet potato out to the rodent, but the porcupine's nose gets dangerously close to his lap. Jimmy looks at the ceiling, whispers a prayer, and mutters, "I'm just happy I had kids already." It is the moment the host realizes he is not the apex predator of this jungle. The animal is. But amidst the chaos and the screaming, something beautiful happens. The emotional break. This is the moment when the animal stops being a prop and starts being a character, usually at the host's expense. We have to go back to the master, Johnny Carson. In 1978, before Fallon or Letterman, there was the king of late night. Betty White was the guest. Betty White, America's sweetheart, had been rehearsing for Circus of the Stars special. She mentioned, offhandedly, that she had bonded with a baby elephant. Johnny, thinking it was a story, asked for details. He did not expect the elephant to be just offstage. When the handlers walked out with Dondi the elephant, the emotional break happened immediately. Johnny Carson, the man who had interviewed Nixon and MLK, looked like a man who had just seen a ghost. The baby elephant, however, had no such reverence. Dondi looked at Johnny and saw Jungle Jim. The moment is pure gold. Betty White, tiny and radiant, commands the elephant like a drill sergeant. Dondi crosses her legs, makes engine noises, and then, because elephants have a sense of humor, grabs Johnny Carson with her trunk. Johnny tries to maintain his cool. He is wearing a finely tailored suit, and a wild animal is essentially hugging him to death. He looks at the camera with an expression that says, "Are you seeing this?" The audience loses their minds. Then, the toot. The elephant passes gas. It is loud, unapologetic, and perfectly timed. Without missing a beat, Betty White quips that the elephant is a better ventriloquist than she realized. This is the emotional break. It is the moment the audience stops being polite and starts weeping with laughter. It is the collision of the absurd, an elephant fart, with the sacred, the Tonight Show set. In that moment, everyone, Johnny, Betty, the elephant, is just an animal trying to get a laugh. The hierarchy of human over beast dissolves into pure, chaotic joy. So, what is the truth? Why are these animal segments the most rewatched, most beloved, and most hilarious clips in the show's history? The truth is simple, and perhaps a little sad for us humans. The truth is that animals are the only guests who never lie. Think about it. When a movie star sits on the couch, they are selling something. They have a script. They have a publicist in their ear. They have a talking point. Everything they say is a performance of a performance. They are safe. They are pasteurized. But a water buffalo cannot spin a narrative. A baby bear cannot promote a film. A turkey does not have a publicist. When the turkey on Conan O'Brien's show suddenly decides to fly directly into the screaming audience, it is not a stunt. That turkey genuinely decided, in its tiny bird brain, that the lights were too hot and it wanted to go home. The chaos is real. The fear in the audience's eyes is real. Conan pumping his fist in the air as the bird causes a riot is the image of a man who loves that he cannot control the world around him. The truth is that we crave authenticity. In a world of curated Instagram feeds and auto-tuned voices, watching Jimmy Kimmel get slapped in the face by a silky chicken is cathartic. The chicken doesn't care that Kimmel has an Emmy. The chicken just knows that the big hairless thing is holding it too tight. We laugh because we see ourselves in the host. We are all just trying to maintain our composure while the universe throws chaos at us. The legacy of these moments is bigger than just rating spikes or YouTube views. The Funny Animals compilation is the great equalizer. You can watch Kevin Hart, the highest-grossing comedian on the planet, scream like a toddler and sprint away from a baby ostrich because he is convinced it wants to eat his soul. For 2 minutes, he is not a movie star. He is just a guy who is really, really scared of a bird. And because he is so scared, we love him more. The impact is that these segments remind us that the buttoned-up world of show business is a sham. It is all just people, sitting on chairs, trying to look cool. The Tonight Show has always been a sanctuary of cool. It is the last bastion of Rat Pack swagger. But every time Jeff Musial brings out a python that wraps too tight, or a fox that escapes into the lighting rig, the facade cracks. The coolness evaporates and is replaced by something much better, humanity. Or, in the case of the elephant, animality. So the next time you turn on the television and see a politician dodging a question or a celebrity promoting a product, remember Howard. Howard was a bird on Johnny Carson's show. He didn't talk, he didn't dance. He just looked Johnny dead in the eye and laughed. A slow, mocking, sarcastic laugh. Howard the bird knew the truth. He knew that the monologue was just words, the desk was just wood, and the suit was just fabric. He knew that the only thing that matters is the moment. And in that moment, a bird was funnier than the entire Writers Guild of America. That is the impact. That is the magic. That is why, when the world gets too serious, we will always turn to the animals. Because the animals, at least, are being themselves. And usually, they are laughing at us.